And now, we will move to the Insight session in project execution, and it's great pleasure to introduce Dr. Stephen Mulva. Dr. Stephen Mulva directs the Construction Industry Institute, CII, a not-for-profit research centers at the University of Texas at Austin. His current research projects are focused on improving the business outcomes of capital projects in most sectors of the modern economy. In addition to his responsibilities at CII, Dr. Stephen teaches graduate courses in construction engineering and project management at the University of Texas. Before coming to CII, in 2007, Dr. Stephen was a professor at Texas State University. He has held industry positions at Fluor, Pictel, Phillips Petroleum, and as a project management consultant for APM. Dr. Mulva holds a PhD in civil engineering from Georgia Tech and 2 engineering degrees from the University of Texas at Austin. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage Dr. Stephen Mulva.
Good morning. I'm really honored to be with you today. Like the other speakers, I would agree that a revolution in smart execution is happening. But before we get too geeked out on the tech side of projects, I'd really like to focus on the big picture. I think it's important, and I want to talk about 3 important things today. Because if we don't get these things right, all the innovation in the world won't matter. So the first is having the best overall process for delivering a capital project. And the second is having the best business model for our industry. The third is finding and continually educating and developing the very best people that we can find. 2021 marks my 25th year of trying to improve the engineering and construction industry. For most of this time, I've been pretty content with the idea of incremental improvement, but the last several years have really convinced me that it's a concept which is not capable of achieving the amount of improvement that we're going to need in this industry moving forward. In order to be successful, as Apple says, we have to think differently. Our industry's best years are absolutely on the horizon. Confluence of research, data, technology, and innovation throughout engineering and construction has never been better. But since this space is rather haphazard and still chaotic, I started a search for an organizing framework that would be capable of making the convergence happen, the convergence that we need. And what I discovered was designed for Six Sigma. And they specifically have a methodology. It has 6 steps. It's called define, measure, analyze, design, optimize, and validate. That's a lot of words, so they abbreviate it DEMIDOV, and they call that the DEMIDOV process. I'm going to address each of these 6 steps, but in the context of one of the leading best practices around the world that CII developed through our research, and it's called Advanced Work Packaging, or AWP. And maybe some of you have heard of it. So the first step of define, project leaders have to really use market intelligence to identify what is most important to the customers. Customer feedback, historical information, and other sources have told us that we have to solve the problem of declining productivity in engineering and construction. 2, measure. The second part of this process collects data in a way that can be used to drive the remaining processes. We need to be able to measure progress and monitor progress differently using functionality such as data warehouses, and CII has a data warehouse. But we need to also avoid the pitfalls that are associated with unit rates and earned value management systems. Third, analyze. Project leaders use research and data to adjust the processes that improve facility delivery. CII's research has proven that today the very best process is advanced work packaging paired with lean philosophy. 4, design. Here, a minimum viable product is designed. The improved delivery process, such as AWP paired or embedded in a digital twin environment, is tested. 5, optimize. Project leaders often pilot the process created during the design stage. For AWP, artificial intelligence and machine learning can be used to update and optimize the work packages every night based on progress as well as labor, material, and equipment availability. 6, validate. The final stage of this methodology tracks customer feedback on the new process. AWP already optimizes and improves field productivity by 25% and lowers total installed costs on capital projects by 10%. And I believe that artificial intelligence is going to raise this to 15% or more. The Design for Six Sigma framework has grown in popularity because the promise of achieving 3.4 deep defects per million opportunities is really, it's one failure at 6 standard deviations. This is really compelling, and we're a far way from achieving that in capital projects. So this is part 1, having a good framework. For part 2, we need to have a great business and commercial model, or our destination of smart execution will not be achievable. Since 2016, CII calls this Operating System 2, or OS2. I believe that success in the next normal following the pandemic will belong to those firms who are able to shift from being vertically integrated conglomerates to operating within trusted strategic alliances featuring specialist providers. The transition of our industry's commercial model to strategic alliances, we know that as the community and as digital project neighborhoods within OS2. People don't operate as strangers, they operate as neighbors. This will be complete when 3 things happen. First, risk. Preliminary studies have shown that 41% of the cost of a heavy industrial capital project is wasted on transactions. It does not go into the planning, design, or construction. Much of these costs can be traced to an imperfect understanding of project risk, and actually all kinds of risks. We are using now multi-party computing on blockchain to anonymously share, pool, and monetize risk. And we've already figured out how to save 17% of total installed cost on projects. Second, supply chain. Risk presents itself at each layer of the supply chain. And each additional layer, and there are about 8 to 12 layers of subordinated contracts in a big project, each additional layer exponentially increases the number of interfaces. That adds to contingencies and management reserves. It raises the overall cost of the project. We're focused on eliminating that. We're focused on doing this through the concept of modularity. This is a concept that's been proven in automotive, aerospace, and high tech. And what that modularity means is it's the ability for components on a project to sort of plug and play with each other. Modularity helps suppliers gain visibility to ensure better integration and better performance on projects. Third, lifecycle investment decisions. Today's project investment tools are inadequate in such an environment. OS2 is now looking at ways of integrating finance with facility life cycles of any kind of duration. We've already identified that the leasing of equipment is a primary candidate to lower the amount of capital that we need on these big projects. So the third and final piece of this puzzle is people, and our desperate need to find and continually educate and develop them. And here I have some really great news to share with you today. CII partnered with PMI over the past 2 years to create a series of 7 e-learning courses. This program is known as Construction Professionals in Built Environment Projects, or CPBEP, it's a long acronym. It contains 3 micro-credentials and can lead to a specialty certification in construction projects in our industry with the completion of a capstone exam. The 7 courses are project communications, scope and change order management, interface management, performance management, contract and risk management, execution planning, and this would include advanced work packaging that I talked about earlier, and technology and innovation. All 7 of these courses feature a lot of CII content, actually over material from 25 different research studies done over the past 35 years. The first 3 of these courses are available today, and the remaining 4 will be available in the first quarter of next year. So as I close out my comments today, I would really encourage all of you to look at your frameworks, your business model, and your talent pool. Advanced Work Packaging, Operating System 2.0, and the world-class course offerings by PMI and CII can put you and your company on the fast track to project success. In fact, I think these 3 things will allow you to complete your projects in half the time and half the cost in the next few years. This is a big challenge, but it's a goal that I'm absolutely confident that we're going to be able to achieve together. So, thank you so much. I appreciate being here and being asked to speak, and I appreciate your attention. Thanks.